Hello, welcome to your daily dose. Today on Truth Talk, a conversation, we are going to be pleased with a conversation with an old friend of mine. His name, well, Jonathan Higdon. Jonathan, hi, how are you?
Hey Mel, great. How are you?
Wonderful, excited, because anytime we talk, the conversation can go anywhere. So I love having a conversation with you that has no topic and no script.
I always look forward to it.
I know. So, Jonathan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, how much you want to know? I was
Well,
born in San
a
Francisco in
short introduction. We're not going to start from when you were 2 and then when you were 5.
Well, I'm living in West LA, as you know. Grew up all over the world. Born here, but grew up in China, Spain, Italy, and different parts of the U.S. Las Vegas, New York, and spent my life traveling. So now, as of about 12 years ago, positioned here. Started in the industry about, well, I'd say 8 years ago. I worked retail when I first got here. Then my father was ill. I became his caregiver, let go of my job, stayed at home, and decided to pursue my childhood dream, the industry, acting, and went all out and started with a talent management company, interning. Then I got into casting, acting, auditioning people. From there, I went to producing, writing. I've always been writing. I'm working currently on 3 different projects as far as a writer. As a producer, I'm still working. Well, with COVID now, everything's on hold, but I'm working on a dance musical. Let's see. I have a role coming up once COVID dies down, lead role. Meanwhile, meanwhile, juice company. I'm working as a sales manager for about 2 years now. Part-time work in the beginning. Now we were up to about 5 days a week, and then when COVID hit, I'm down to 2 days doing home deliveries only. And then we started going into businesses again about a month and a half ago. And as of right now, everything's shut down. However, they remain open under the radar. So I continue to do juice company while working industry. And believe it or not, I just got a job for the month of December, from beginning of January. There's still jobs out there. Working for the OC Fairgrounds. I'll be an attendant for drive-through Christmas extravaganza. So that's pretty much my world right now.
Okay, well, I will tell you, I was taking notes. There's so much to talk about in just your introduction. You know, number one, you said you lived in China, Italy, like in other nations. What do you think? Because you've been there. That's your experience. Compared to how United States is handling the whole COVID, what do you what do you think it would have been like if you were still in Italy or China dealing with the COVID? Your comparison.
Wow. I'm actually in touch with people in both countries. I'm still talking to people in Spain and China and Peru and getting updates on how they're dealing with the situation. It's very different. Spain always has been in lockdown. People barely
Wait,
leave their
wait, wait.
homes.
You said always in lockdown, like since March of this past year.
March,
Since
maybe
March.
more like April or May.
Okay. And when you say lockdown, what do you mean? Because are they literally like locked in their homes?
Well, you go to work if you can, depending on what the job is. But people do go to work still, and then they go straight home. They only leave their home basically to get groceries or necessities, and then back to home. They avoid gatherings. They avoid going out in the street. They don't go out and party. They don't go to restaurants. No movies, nothing like that. It's just home, work, and groceries. So it's been
So
that
how
way.
is that different from us here in California? Because I don't think I've been to a movie since March.
Well, I guess the main difference is for me, at least in my neighborhood. I'm in West LA. There have been a lot of people out and about. The restaurants keep opening and closing, reopening. We have outdoor dining. It took a while before we started shutting down certain businesses. Everything remained open, and people continue to go out and party. Strong gatherings, groups, and we still have a war about whether or not to wear a mask. We have people out
Let me
there.
ask you this.
Uh-huh.
Do you think that the people in the other countries respect their government enough to follow the orders compared to how we react in the United States to the stay-at-home orders, the wearing the mask, the 6 feet apart, the don't go out? Like, I don't see, there's like a division. Either we in the United States either agree with it and we're there 100%. We don't go out, we wear the mask, we do everything possible, or we don't. We're going to do as we want. We're going to appear to follow the rules, but we're not. We're doing it, any way we can. We're living our life like we want to. Do you think that's different in, I know China, they don't have a choice too much, but what about like Italy? Do you think that they have more respect for their government?
I think Europeans in general have more respect for their governments, but their government is different than ours. Even in Europe, it's a united government. COVID hit us during a unique campaign, a unique presidential time. So having Donald Trump in office, who basically rejects masks, as we all know. He even pokes fun at people who wear them. He's had people, media come up and he's told them, I can't hear what you're saying, take the mask off. His rallies, no masks worn. So that's leadership there. Bad leadership. So then you have the Senate, the division within the Senate, Republicans, Democrats fighting each other over the masks and taking their stance. So we're divided. So now that means the American people will be divided. Those that want to support Trump, no masks. They're making a statement. And those that are Democrats.
I don't think you could. I want to be very careful not to put everybody in that basket. I know a lot of Trump supporters that completely wear masks and completely care about what's going on with the pandemic. I don't think we can lump everybody. Biden supporters wear masks, Trump supporters don't.
Not 100%. I agree. We can't do it 100%. But when you're watching the news and you're watching live these rallies, what's going on, and you notice, but barely anyone's wearing a mask, it says something.
And let me ask you this. We're going to segue because I think it's important. Entertainment. You're part of the entertainment industry. At first, the entertainment, there was no shows. No new recordings, no new shows going on, right?
Right.
But then, about a couple of weeks ago, there were shows that showed COVID, like all the medical shows. They had the COVID masks, they had the gear, the PPE, and they were doing their show as if it was COVID, inside a COVID pandemic. But then they stopped, and now the new shows have the actors and actresses, no mask, doing their show, doing their entertainment, and no one cares to say anything about that. Do we care so much about being entertained that we say, you know what, it's okay that actors and actresses don't wear masks and don't do that. But, if Trump does it at a rally, we can't accept that. If Biden does it, it's not going to be accepted. If you and I go to the grocery store without a mask, we're going to be hounded by somebody. Guaranteed.
Don't be thrown out. You can't even go in.
So I agree. We're so double standard in this country. And I think that's why there's division. Because I don't care who you look at, there's no standard. There's absolutely no standard. And so I want to make this point because people will say, well, you know what? If they're doing a TV show, they could quarantine the people. They do COVID testing every day, all of that. So they're allowed to do that. So then what we're saying is, if you have money and connection, you can go on and live your normal life. But if you're everyday people that can't get COVID tested every day before you go to work, your business is closed. What message is that?
All right. So you did bring it up. That is valid. They are tested daily. One of my guys, Sharif, he's an actor. He's on set, and they test him. I think he gets tested 3-4 times a week, and they pay for the test. He doesn't have to pay for it. So they pay for it. He's tested. A lot of them are locked down. So a lot of the big productions that we're watching, they are on set, locked down on that set. For example, some of the reality TV shows with houses. I can't think of the name of the show right now. They're there. They stay there. They don't leave until they're done with the production. So we're talking months of lockdown.
Does that not tell? That angers me though, because again, you have there was 110,000 restaurants closed down for good because of the pandemic. That's 110,000 owners and owners' families, and numerous people who worked in that restaurant lost their income, lost their way of life.
Yeah.
Okay. But because the entertainment has money in their pockets, they have connections to COVID testing.
Mm-hmm.
They are allowed to keep their millions. They are allowed to keep their jobs. They are allowed to continually run their companies. How is that? Like, how is no one else besides me? And if anyone else is watching in your outraged chat, let us know what you think about this. But how is that okay? I don't understand how we as American citizens will sit back and let all of our constitutional rights and our freedoms be challenged when the wealthy continue to do what they want to do.
I'm going to make a guess on it. There's a lot of ways to look at it. But one, being at home, yeah, we have delivery, we have curbside pickup. At least we're still able to get what we want. They're trying to keep us at home. Okay. Well, what are we going to do at home? What's the number one thing that people do? And they're here to unplug and relax and keep people calm? Television. So at the same time, the flip side to that is people at least are getting something to keep them. Yeah, they could play backgammon and they could have chit chat and read a book, but we're still providing them constant with something to keep people at peace, to keep them calm.
So you think that's why people don't care? Because I
guess there's anything they can get.
You know what? Give the mom and pop stores COVID testing to test their employees before they go to work. Mm-hmm. Give normal people, everyday average people, the same privilege that you give the government and the entertainment industry. Now that's in a crazy world, because I know that's not going to happen.
Right.
But when you got something so severe, you know, you have actresses who make millions of dollars, actors make millions of dollars, producers, directors, and they're still able to work. Now, are they doing it for free? See, because then that would be a service to the community. Mm-hmm. That they're going to make shows to entertain those who can't work, so they don't go crazy at home, but they do it for free. That's a service. You get to keep your job. You get to continue to do what you do. You get COVID tested every day, every other day. You get to be put up in hotels and mansions, but you don't get paid because it's a community service now.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, the fun thing on this is, how far do we go? And that's the hard part. That's what the government decides, right? How far do we go? What do we shut down? What do we keep open? Because for that matter, we could just shut down grocery stores too. Keep people out of the stores. Keep them at home and have the curbside pickup and delivery of groceries to your home only. Thank God they haven't done that yet, but they could. They could have.
Well, I think, you know, hey, let's not talk before it happens.
Yeah.
But you're saying, again, I think we're going to always be on the opposite side of this, because what you're saying is we should be thankful we have at least the freedom to go get groceries.
No, I'm saying that with the government and what they decide, where does it end? That's what I wonder.
Oh.
How far do we go? What's essential? It's just like it's an endless cycle.
I hate that word essential. It so means that there's people that is not necessary, that their livelihood doesn't count, that what they do with their lives doesn't matter if you're non-essential.
Right.
I hate that. I totally disagree with that word.
I don't like the term either. I understand
I
it.
don't.
I understand it, but it's just essential. Everything's essential, and it depends on the person. What's essential to that individual?
Yeah, it's essential for someone who has 25 employees counting on them to be able to open the door of their establishment and be able to pay their bills. It's essential for everybody to be able to pay your bills.
Right.
Anyway.
And then you have just as much chance in a grocery store of getting infected as you do sitting outside in an outdoor dining area.
I think you have more. I think you have more. I went to outdoor dining area. I don't know. I forgot the restaurant. But, we went straight to our table.
Mm-hmm.
It was sanitized. We actually asked for extra cleansing right before we sat down and cleansed it ourselves. And then we sat down. We were at least 6 feet apart from any other table.
Mm-hmm.
The server wore a mask 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really isolated, but yet it was nice getting out. However, if you're in the grocery store, you don't know who's passed through that aisle 15 minutes before you did, if they wore a mask, if they coughed, or what they touched. We have no idea on what's going on in the grocery store. So as much as they can say they're taking precautions, which we are, it's not guaranteed that someone walked by the apples and didn't cough on the apples.
Yep.
It's not guaranteed.
And they're not wearing gloves or anything. Plus, you're brushing against somebody when you're passing them in the aisle. People stand a lot closer than they should in line.
Yes.
So it's higher risk.
I got yelled at, Jonathan. I was at a Hobby Lobby.
A what?
And I was at a Hobby Lobby.
What's a Hobby Lobby?
It's like a Michael's. There's actually one here in Burbank. It's really an East Coast store, and my friend here told me about it here. There's one store in Burbank, and I was about 8 feet away from the cashier. No one in front of me. I began to walk up, and she's like, "Get away! Stay there! Get away!" And I was like, yo, like the sign of 6 feet is in front of me by at least 2 feet. And she was having a fit. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, I'm next in line. And she's like, stay there until I disinfect the area. And I was like, okay, but I am 8 feet. But she yelled at me as if I was a criminal. And I was so put off by that. And there's other people that told me, they get yelled at if their mask falls down below their nose, or if it isn't tight enough, or anything like that. And I think, when do we become a society that we disregard that we're people, and we can yell at anyone about it? We can demean people in public. We can forcibly make people leave out of being uncomfortable if we don't conform to their own standard, for lack of a better word. 6 feet is what it is. This lady wanted 10 feet, I think. How do I know she wants 10 feet? But as a society, we're so fearful of this disease that we're reacting and demeaning people out of a reaction. I don't understand how we've become that kind of society.
I think it's the world. It's not just America. That's every country. That's all societies, unfortunately. Chinese are the worst. They're extremely outspoken and aggressive when it comes to things. That's just a culture, though. Europeans also. I mean, it's everywhere.
I think it's horrible.
Yeah.
I think
a lot can be accomplished just by speaking, by talking. It's funny. I had 2 experiences recently. I was walking down the street, had my mask around my arm, wasn't wearing it. And a lady across the street I'd never seen before, and her husband screamed, "Excuse me? Yeah. Yes? uh, where's your mask? It's right here on my wrist. And I kept walking. Next day, saw her again. This time, I decided to say something. So I walked up. I did put my mask on as I approached and explained that I would always put my mask on when I'm approaching. I was on the opposite side of the street the other day. And it ended up with us very pleasantly exchanging names and becoming friends. After that, every time I see him, I put my mask on. We wave to each other, but it could have gone a whole other direction if I decided to be somebody aggressive and yell at them or say "mind your." I could have said anything, and it would
Yeah.
have been future. Whenever we see each other, it would have been an automatic negative. Instead, we turned it into a positive, and people can do that.
That's a really good point. I'm going to do something. Tell me if you can hear me. I'm getting so much feedback today. Let's see if that changes it. I don't know. How's that?
For me, perfect.
Me too.
Echoes gone.
Pretty much. All right. So, I like the fact that you took the time the next time you. No, it's not. All right. Let's check. Yeah. Yeah. There's so much feedback. What it is. It's not. Just. We're going to go power through it. I don't know that it's going to affect anybody but myself. I'm talking about sanity. But you took the time the next time you saw them to explain, hey, I wouldn't do that. I'm not encouraging I'm on the same page as you are, pretty much. And that, you never know what's going to happen down the line. Like you said, we don't know what the next phase of anything is at this moment. You now have someone that another person in your community that you can help and that can help you if need be. But it's that gentle, what's the scripture? A gentle word turns away wrath. A soft word turns away wrath. And I think it's important for us to remember that. But, don't act in fear. That initial fear makes us violent in our words or in our actions. If we can just step back, or the offense, like you could have been really offended and been like, look, I'm across the street, leave me alone, mind your own business. You could have been really offended at that, but you didn't. You stepped back and understood why they were concerned.
Yes,
and yeah, I mean, I think that's beautiful. If we can remember that everyone has their own reason for what they're saying. And if we can just step away for a second, not be offended, and see it from their perspective, we can have that conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. The other story that was fun was on the same block, salons. Last Friday, Saturday, I was delivering. Went into the first salon, and a lady sitting inside immediately saying, "Oh, wow, you just let anybody come in here? You just let anybody walk in?" And the lady at the front was saying, "No, no, no. We know who comes in. We check. And if they're a vendor or whatnot, there's just a quick in and out. That's it." All right. She goes, "John, go on upstairs." Quickly. She brought me in really fast, sent me upstairs. So I went up. 3 people wanted juice, and I also make salads. So they wanted some chicken Caesars. They all wanted juice and shots. So I took their cards, went downstairs, out to get them swiped, came back in, and the woman was having a conniption. I go up to the top, and the girl at the front comes after me, comes up, says, "Jonathan, I'm so sorry. Listen, I got to get you out of here. This woman's going crazy because you're here and you're selling stuff." So they stuck me out the back door.
Oh my goodness.
Not the front, the back door, the side door. Apologized to me. Cool. I go to the second salon. They wave at the door. No, they don't want me coming in. Okay. I go to the third salon, and they open the door. One of the ladies that works inside stopped me outside and said, "Ooh, you got some juice for me?" I'm like, "Yep." She goes, "Great, come on in." Place was packed. Everybody I can't even tell you. Every single person that works there, which is probably 25, I'd say. 25 operators. All bought juice, they bought shots, they bought salads. But it's amazing, mind-boggling, from one salon to the next, 3 in a row, the same block, the different reactions.
Yeah, there's really no standard. We're really reacting the way we feel comfortable reacting within the guidelines, I think, is what we're doing. But I want to hear more about Kelly's Juice Bar. And I'm going to put up how to get in touch with you at juiceman_Kelly's Juice Bar. But I want you to introduce it. I thought you would bring it up. I took the liberty to
Mm-hmm.
have this. And Kelly's Juice Bar, it is what? All natural, organic?
So organic, and we do cold press. So we have a machine that extracts everything from the fruits and the vegetables. So cold press machines, and then we have smalls. We have 16-ounce large. We only use glass. We don't believe in metal or plastic. So we use glass bottles. We also have wellness shots and salads. So the wellness shots and the juices target everything in the body from arthritis, inflammation, joint pain, heart, cleansing the blood, kidney function, liver, energy. I can go on. So
Yeah.
everything natural in the body. It replaces coffee. I have certain juices that are greens, for example, cucumber for hydration with kale, spinach, nutrients, apple, pear, ginger, and lime. So that with a shot of or turmeric, for example, that combination, I've had most of my clients say it's like coffee. It gets them going for hours on end, and they feel good.
You know, I wanna just say this about Kelly's Juice Bar. I love the fact when people can take a tragedy and they can make something to better society with it. And you know, this is off the website, but she explains that how do you say, is it Ife?
Ife.
Ife lost the love of her life, Kelly Sr., and now she's a single mother of 2 boys. But he lost his life to diabetes at an age of 36 years old, which is very young. And she then began to, it says here that she overcame the sudden life change with his unexpected death, and then she began to have the issues of her own. And this is something that she helped herself, her family, and now she's giving it to the community, is all the wisdom that she learned about juicing, about the benefits of each vegetable and each item that she puts in these juices. And I will say this, I did I love the bottles. When I had my shipment, I love the bottles. The fact that it comes in bottles and not plastics, it's not going to deteriorate inside. You're not going to get any extra chemicals. It's a great way of packaging. It shows the extra care that you take with the product. But I'm going to tell you what, you might be able to know the exact name more than I, but that zinger, that daily, I call it a daily zinger. It was the turmeric, ginger, lemon. Oh my goodness. I love that. Like that did replace my coffee. It gave me energy, clearness of my thought during the day. It was just a beautiful additive to help my day go smoothly. So I probably should put another order in now that I'm saying it.
Well, now I have something more exciting. Turmeric, ginger, lemon with sea moss. We are doing a lot of sea moss. 92 minerals. I had one for breakfast the other day when I went to work. I was some kind of groggy, a little lethargic. I took one of those shots, started walking. Within 10 minutes, I was just going.
And we're not talking shots like needle shots. We're talking small 2 ounces of juice. I just want to clarify that if you don't like needles, you can still do Kelly's Juice Bar because it is just a glass shot, not a needle shot. And I got this off the website as well, Jonathan. It talks about how athletes, seniors, and kids can all benefit, as well as, you know, the average age person. And it's interesting for kids because people don't think kids should do this, but carrot provides vitamin C, the juice of the green provides vitamin B complex, and that, you know, you just give a kid, they might not sit down and eat, you know, tons of vegetables, but you give them a little glass of juice once a day, you know that their immune system's being boosted. You know, they're being given the nutrition that's not even in the food. So you can cook food all the time, but that nutrition isn't getting in the food. So this is a great additive for all the kids.
And the kids love it. The pineapple pear, pineapple apple, the watermelon apple lime. It's sweet. It's rich. It tastes wonderful. That's one of the key things that makes our juice different. It's we don't add any water. There are no preservatives. The combinations she make are perfectly balanced. So every single juice that we do tastes wonderful.
Oh wow, that's
Yes.
good. And you know what? My last thing. I had fun with a little bit every time. So here's a picture of you, Jonathan, with one of yours that a client, one of your
Mhm.
clients. But
Oh,
you have
law enforcement. Yep.
retired professional athletes, football, the NFL players, NBA players. You have, it's not a new business. It is something that has been founded, and you do have a great clientele that has spoken up and said how much they appreciate the product as well. So, you know, with all this COVID going on and just flu season in general, this is a great way to boost your immunity. So reach out to Jonathan, you know, at juiceman underscore Kelly's Juice Bar, or just Kelly's Juice Bar on the website. It's in the greater Los Angeles area, all over LA.
And we deliver direct to home and to business. We go straight to you.
Yes. And so here it is, all the areas in LA that they reach. And now it is delivery only, of course, because COVID has restrictions. So you can go on the website, contact them there if that's easier for you to do. But I just think it's worthwhile to give another avenue of how we can get the nutrition that we are needing. So I appreciate you still trying to get that product to people. And like I said, I've tried it myself. I've enjoyed the little spots. I enjoyed the green. What was that, Jonathan, that I had?
We made you a special. It was a green,
Yes,
but I
it was
recall
a
I
special
did a different
cardiac.
combination for you, keeping up.
Yeah, blood pressure and cardiac, and it was wonderful. And I will tell you, my blood pressure is back to normal. You know, my cardiac function is doing good. You know, I boosted my system for a week, and just did the whole entire week boost, and it made a difference. So that is that.
And I'll also be putting some things on my Instagram page. The menu's there, but I'll be doing a COVID package, which includes, excuse me, some of my throat. So you get juices, shots, salad, a whole combination package for home for the week. So I'll be putting that on
Instagram
the page.
COVID-19 juice package. Is that what it is?
Yes.
All right. What is your Instagram?
Juice man underscore Kelly's Juice Bar.
Oh, the same thing?
That's mine.
All right.
My number is there too, because you can text me direct with call or text me with any questions about juices, what you need for your body. I'm available.
All right, I want to put that up on the screen so they can know that they can go on Instagram at juiceman underscore Kelly's Juice Bar for COVID-19 juice packaging. And I do want to say this because we're going to talk about different subjects. Some of the things that we talk about here today with Jonathan may not represent the ideas or beliefs of Kelly's Juice Bar. It is two separate things. Why we want to promote Kelly's Juice Bar, because it is so beneficial for us to do that. We might say something that does not reflect the beliefs of the establishment. I just feel like we need to do that. We don't want anybody yelling at Kelly, you know, saying, wait a minute, Jonathan and Melanie said this. It's not part of that. So what else do you want to talk about today? You know, something I want to talk about is, you said that there's still jobs out there if people are looking for fast, work that they can get in spite of the COVID, essential jobs that they're allowed to have. So with all the shutdowns, I guess people don't think that they can get a job, but there is seasonal work still being done.
Yeah, there is. See, I was lucky. A friend of mine told me about it because he's been doing it for years, and that's the fairgrounds. So even though Disney shut down, a lot of the amusement parks are shut down, there's a loophole. Always a loophole. A lot of them are doing drive-through only. So that way people still can do something fun, still have some entertainment, do something as family. And also it provides jobs. People are able to still work. So that's one example. The fairgrounds, places like it. Then, as you know, grocery stores are still hiring. Amazon and delivery and all of that is still going on. Uber still going on. I mean, there's still work out there.
That's a good point, because I don't think about things like that. Everything you said, I don't think about, they're still hiring. I think everybody's closed down. So that's a good point to say.
Delivery is a big one. And I know Amazon and Google, I forget what Google's doing, but they are hiring.
Okay.
Volume. They're looking for volume. These deliveries are huge right now.
When you say Google, what does Google?
I'm trying to remember. I just remember that they were hiring. I can't remember what for, though.
Okay.
I have to look it up. I forgot. So
if you're in need of funds because you either lost income to COVID or anything, you can go to Amazon and apply for a job there. Local grocery stores to deliver food.
And stock. There's people to stock.
Okay, well, if you go to my grocery store, there's nothing to stock because the shelves are empty. What is that? I think because the lack. My grocery store was stocked wonderfully until the day after they said you can only get 2 packs of toilet paper per person. Once they put that in, the signs to please limit to, there's no more toilet paper. There's no more paper towels. There's no more napkins. There's no more sanitizer. It's like, why put the signs out there? Because everyone was doing fine just the way it was. But then you cause a panic. You cause the lack because you make people think, wait a minute, if they're limited, I have to get it before it runs out. And I was talking with a friend. I said, you know what? I have 5 people in my family. I should tell everybody to go to the store separately and get 2 packs of toilet paper. That gives us 10 packs of toilet paper. But that's what people are doing. It's a joke to me, but I think people are really doing that because why is there no toilet paper on the shelves?
Yeah, people were hoarding also. Before the sign came out, everyone was hoarding. The sign came out, and then everybody's on the run. And then they're jumping stores. So once you're finished with that store, next store, and you start.
Don't give ideas. Do not give ideas about that.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 stores, all within a 1 mile radius. See how many I can hit.
Jonathan, why waste the gas?
Good way to spend the day.
You go in, get 2, come out. Go back in, get 2, come out. You have to waste the gas going to different stores. Just keep going back and forth.
True. Or you bring the whole family and each one of you grab 2.
That was my idea. Yep. That was my idea. I mean, we laugh about it, but it's not funny when you run out of toilet paper.
Yeah.
In March or February, April, I was one that found myself without toilet paper. And I'm like, there's no toilet paper anywhere. We drove an hour out of the way to try to find toilet paper. There was no toilet paper anywhere. I was thankful my son, because I didn't even bother to tell him, hey, do you have toilet paper? I didn't even think to ask him about that. Well, he called me. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm running around trying to find toilet paper. He's like, what? I've got a big Costco thing. I'll bring you some. But I didn't think to ask him. So thankfully he had enough. Then he, of course, gave us some toilet paper. But why are we starting this mentality of panic? It's like, you know,
It's a cycle, and people keep forgetting the cycle because of our age. But you go back to the 1917s, early 1900s, you go back to World War II, World War One, you go further back, it's always been this way. Whenever there is a huge pandemic, or any type of strife in our society, this is what we do.
it is. It is. We restrict people, we take away the freedom, and then we have lack because we react so poorly. Instead of looking out for each other, we look out for ourselves. It's all about right here. It's hard to look past our own needs when
Yeah.
you're faced with fear.
And America was found this way. It was born this way. That's the sad part. The division between all of us here in this country. However, I do not forget and love the fact, and bring up many times in conversation, of how we found this country. When we all came together as one people to defeat a common enemy and create the United States of America. Everyone came together as one. And I don't think we ever did it again in history. I don't think America's ever done it again. We've been divided ever since.
Well, it's been the one with the biggest guns wins. The one with the most power wins. It's not about equality in America. It's about who has the most power to cause everything else, whatever they want them to do. And it's just we're in a sad state, I think. But I think, like you said, it is history. We're repeating itself. And we don't know it. If you don't know the history, you're not going to recognize what's happening. Right?
Yeah.
And schools are not teaching.
Schools are what?
Schools are not teaching it. So, yeah, you know, this generation coming up doesn't understand when we refer something like, you know, all the wars and everything. They don't understand what we mean when we talk about Civil War. A lot of people, the younger generation, are like, yeah, that's something that happened, but we're good now. But things will repeat itself if we don't learn the lesson.
Well, what's scary is the youngest generation, the upcoming one. Well, I rephrase that. The 20-year-olds to 30-year-olds that I know. You talked about some of the stuff we're talking about. They have no clue. They never learned any of that in school. They don't know about it unless you see it on TV. If it's on television, okay. And then the television, the way they do it on the show or on the movie, is the way they believe it is in real life. They don't actually know the true history, and that blows my mind. Now, this youngest generation, I don't know. I really don't. They're inquisitive. The newest generation is inquisitive.
You mean like the tweens? I think they call the tweens, 15, 13 to 18, 19. Yeah, I think they're inquisitive. But, I don't know enough of them to even have an opinion.
I know a 13. I know quite a few. There's one 13 and 17-year-old. They call me Uncle John. And I sit there with my mouth open when I come to see them. They know more politics than some of the adults.
Wow.
Yep, and they want to go vote, but they can't because they're underage. But they're in tune. They're plugged in the television. They know everything that's happening, what's going on. They have an opinion to make on it.
Well, you know, the thing is this. I wonder if that's because they're the ones whose life was most turned upside down since March. You know, people like in our generation, we know how to go with the flow. We've been through seasons, we go with the flow. But that generation, you know, they're young enough to where life was probably stable and normal for most of them. And then all of a sudden, in a matter of a day to a week, no going with their friends, no going to school, everything is shut down, can't go see grandma and grandpa, and they're probably wondered why. I want answers why I just lost everything I'm used to. Maybe their dad lost their job or their mom lost their job. And now they're looking at having to downsize and maybe the stressors of not, you know, being able to pay their mortgages is in their home. And they're wondering why.
They're wondering why they're sitting at home doing school on a computer.
Right.
That's a
And
big
you
one.
know what? And I understand some of the reasoning behind that. You don't want a classroom full of kids to infect each other. But when you're sitting there saying you can't go to school, but then you turn on the TV and see everybody gathering
Mm-hmm.
politically or TV shows still recording, come on. How are you telling this kid they can't do anything, but you can turn on the TV and see news video after news video of people doing everything? It's mind-boggling. It's just mind-boggling. And
But
so
they're smart. They're smart enough to know and hear at the same time the critiques on the fact that these people are all gathering and getting together, and how the numbers are going up, and how now lockdowns are in place. So they're smart enough to see, hear, and understand.
I think that this is going to cause a new generation of
Yes.
politicians. They're going to grow up to want to make changes after they've been so deeply affected. And I think we're going to see a whole spike of this younger generation as they grow up, being more involved in community, more involved in social things that are going on, more involved in politics and laws.
Yep.
And I think that's a positive we can take from this, is that it is going to breed a new generation that's going to raise up and say, you know what, we care. This is our world, this is our life, and we want some control in it.
Absolutely.
And I think that's beautiful because, like you said, the 20 to 30 something, I know enough of those.
Yeah, enough said. Enough said right there.
You know, they're enjoying life. They're, you know, and I raised something. I raised 3 of those, all right? I understand it. But we raised them to enjoy life, to almost be oblivious a little bit, but to take serious your track of life, to care about people that are less fortunate, but it wasn't about the world, you know? That generation didn't get the world aspect. It was more of a personal aspect, and then how you can be a better person with that, or how to be a good part of society. But you know, the whole outside of, you know, history and all that, it just wasn't part of that generation for the most part. And we're seeing that come to play. And I think for that it's sad, because I've noticed a lot 20 to 30, they kind of fall, you know that saying, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
I've
Some
said many
people,
times that their religion, and you know, we have newspapers. They're the news. Well, their news and their newspaper is social media. That's where you get your facts. That's where you get your updates. That's where you get your knowledge. Social media. As for religion, well, that's the television set.
yeah,
Seriously. And
yeah.
everything they see
YouTube.
is the way the world is.
YouTube is the end all to be all. You know, don't know something, go to YouTube. If you're bored, go to YouTube. You want to agree with somebody, go to YouTube. Like, YouTube is the end all to be all. And now that people are forced, as I am myself, to do things on YouTube, because, you know, before I go out in public speak, you can't go out in public speak. So you have to have an outlet on social media, and thankful for that. At least it keeps my sanity just a little bit. But that generation just, you know, I can go on YouTube, I can have a platform on it, but I don't eat it up. It's not my food for the day.
Right.
You know, I want to talk to you about something, and I know we have moved in there, but I got to talk to you about this. When we talked the other day, you said about COVID testing and the craziness of COVID testing. So I did this. I made this small graphic for you in appreciation of your trials.
Okay.
There you go. So this is what it's like. From what I understand, you said that the traffic, that you had appointment only.
Yep.
But you were in lines like maybe longer than this here in Los Angeles. So, like, you know, and this is why it bothers me so much. that the wealthy and the politicians, the entertainment industry, they're getting COVID testing. The sports organizations, they're getting COVID testing taken to them. Hey, it's
For
right
free.
here
Three
for
times a
free,
week. 3 times a
three
week.
times a week. Let me tell you, my daughter works in the healthcare system. She was exposed side by side with a doctor. He had a fever. He was still at work. He went home once the fever came, but she was there 10 hours working side by side doing procedures.
Mm-hmm.
He went home. He found out he was positive for COVID. You know, they told her if she wanted to be tested, she'd have to pay for it out of her pocket.
That's insane.
They did not test her. They told her, keep at work until you're symptomatic.
Wow.
She had to go out and get her own COVID test. Now, it angers me when people in healthcare, they are serving the community to get COVID tested to make sure that when they're exposed to someone, they didn't catch it or they're not going to give it asymptomatically to other people. But you got people, you know,
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Let me add to the fire. Let me add some fuel. Then you have actors who go, not only are they tested, but they get paid to be tested.
Yes.
Literally, they get paid $100. So I'm going to have you do a test. I'm going to give you $100 and add it to your paycheck 3 times a week. Wow.
But you needed to get COVID tested for a job.
Yep.
And you were told you'd have to pay hundreds of dollars.
Yep. 250. One place was 250. Another spot was across the street was 150, and that seems to be most places 150. Schedule a test, and you saw that line.
Yeah, schedule a test, and you're in a line like this
for hours.
Like you'll run out of gas before you get your test. But that's the free, right? That's free if you do this.
And now I found, and I have it booked for this Friday. I went to Rite Aid. So I scheduled an appointment with Rite Aid. They put me into the slot. It'll be on time. I won't have to wait in a long line.
That's
However, beautiful. I have to self-swab while I'm there and give it to them. So they're not going to do it for me. They're going to give me the kit. I do it to myself and then give it back to them.
Well, that works. You know, that works.
Hey, I'll take it.
so go to Rite Aid or the CVS stores. Go to your pharmacy and make an appointment. Is a better thing than doing the test sites that's just randomly out there. Is what you're saying? Because I again, I think if we just looked at what we see, we would not be so complacent. You know, I just don't think there's an adequate reason why the wealthy and the privileged continue to be able to work and they get free COVID testing to be able to work. But the everyday person in America is being forced out of their jobs, out of their livelihood, out of their homes. And for the government to come in and say, oh, we're thinking about giving everybody $600. What is that about? What is that about?
See, for me, that's the saddest part is they're fighting over whether or not to give people $600 because it might be, they think it's too much. One part says it's too much. The other side says it's not enough. So round and round they go while everybody suffers.
What is it? Some people have been out of work. I know people in my family, they've been out of work 4 times throughout this 9-10 month session. And they didn't get paid. They had to go get COVID testing to get back to work, or the place just got shut down by the stay-at-home orders. And there was no income. No income. apply for the relief from the government for housing because there was proven that they couldn't work because of their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Applied for that. If you can't get the documentation, like say your restaurant closed down that you used to work at, there's no documentation because they're gone, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can't fill out the documents to get the relief. But say you can get all the documents done, you get the relief, then the apartment complex says we're not honoring you, and you get evicted. Done everything right,
Yeah.
but you get evicted at no cost. So for the politicians to be sitting there saying, well, you know, $600 is a little bit too much money. Nobody asked to go in this situation. Nobody's like saying, I don't want to work. These are people who are forced out of their jobs. These are people who are losing everything because of the healthcare to make sure that we're healthy in America. But how does America not take care of its own?
Yeah.
You know, that's all
It's
I
a
want to
game.
know. If someone can just
It's
tell
a
me
game within the government. They are
how
going back and forth. It's all about, you know, the arena right there.
it is.
And they forget about
There's a
us.
bigger picture, and you know, yes, COVID-19 is horrible. It's real. People are dying. I can't say that enough. It is so real. But there is a big picture surrounding that as well, and that is the inequality in America. That's, you know, there is a class system in America that I don't think it's ever been so prevalent as it is now.
Yep. And I will tell you, one thing I loved about China, as I always said, that when I was there, it's what I felt America should be like. And being here, it flipped the
Really?
opposite. So, reason
Really?
being, when I was there, the way medical works is beautiful, easy, simple to go in. It's cost effective. Let's see, the way people interact with each other,
Yeah.
the unity, I love it. All the kids, all the people, they love their government, at least in mainland, and the way they're taken care of by the government. Help police and people interact. They sit together, drink together, chit chat. There's no divide. There is no wall. There's a unity there. People respect the cops. Teachers are considered the top of society. They're well paid, well respected. Children adore. People respect and are thankful to have teachers. Here, they're the bottom of the food chain. It's just so, and there's a lot of other things. But I'll tell you, during the pandemic, I was there for SARS. I was in China during SARS.
Oh, wow.
And Americans were, whoa, they were running, running to get on a plane and get home. And they made it sound like it was such a huge disaster. My mom would call and talk to me, and everyone in America thought SARS was just, China was in a lot of trouble. I never wore a mask. Most people didn't. I was outdoors all the time. I was interacting. I was living life normal. I never had a problem. It wasn't the way it was portrayed. But also, it was contained very quickly. It was contained quickly. Hong Kong's another story, but mainland.
You know, I think that there's a lot that we talked about today, and hopefully help encourage people to boost their immune system, whether it's Kelly's Juice Bar or just home juicing, if that's a better avenue for them, but to do things to boost their immune system during this season of the flu and COVID, and just in general. Hold on a second. And just in general. But also, you know, we talked about a lot of the negatives, and I never like to leave a show with us on a negative impact. I think the best we can do, Jonathan, if you agree, is take care of each other.
Yep.
You know, look out for each other. Yes, there's a lot of things we might be different on. You and I don't agree on a lot of things. We never have, but yet we've always been friends. But if we don't have to agree with each other to look out for each other, you know, we need to basically say, you know, I am my brother's keeper. I will be there if you need me. And if we can just keep that mentality to one another, I think that will be a positive step in the weeks and months to come as we continue to go through this rise in the life of pandemic. So
One of the
that Jonathan,
beautiful things for me during this was watching how people now that are too busy in life, always too busy going here, going there, the job, never enough time to be with the family. And there's right across from where on my balcony, across the way, it's another apartment. And they would look over at my balcony. I would look over at theirs. We'd wave to each other. And I would call them my family. I would say to my mother, "Oh, my family's home." Because we would look up and it was a woman with her 3 daughters and a husband. And I used to sit and watch as they would sit around their kitchen table and they would cook together, talk together, spend time together, come on the terrace and look out and wave, walk together. I thought, how beautiful that they get this time to be together. And right now, all of us that are at home, this is our chance to have that talk we haven't had, to bond, to share, get to know each other deeply. We have the time and have some fun together, build some memories.
Yes, put the phones down, turn the TV off, and take advantage of the time we have together. Do fun things. Do things you used to do when you were kids. You know, have parties, have makeshift competitions, have cooking competitions. You know, read a book and discuss it together. Go outside, play some hoops. You know, play baseball. You can do stickball. You don't need to buy anything, just a stick and a ball. It is good to be able to go outside. But we do have to go today, Jonathan. That is our hour. I appreciate you for taking your time. Hope you come back on the show again.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
It is a pleasure. If anybody listening would like to come on the show and be a guest, you know, you can go to truthtohear.org or just chat or message me on Facebook or Instagram or all the other social medias that we're on. Join me tomorrow. We will be doing a deeper dive into Revelation. And so here's the schedule for your daily dose of truth to hear every day at 2 p.m., Monday through Friday. Tomorrow, we're going to dive into the 7 churches of Revelation. And then join me Friday for a message of returning to your first love. And next week on Truth Talk, a Conversation, we're going to have one of your favorites, Bill Kaufman, joining us. So we look forward to that as well. And again, Jonathan, thank you so much. Have a great week. Give my love to your family, your mom. And I see the beautiful Christmas decorations behind you. So getting ready for the holidays. That's a wonderful thing. All right.
Thanks for having me, Mel.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.